The specter of escalating conflict looms large over Eastern Europe. The quiet hum of radar systems and the hurried whispers in military command centers paint a grim picture. A chilling dance of brinkmanship is unfolding between Russia and NATO, with Poland finding itself at the very epicenter. Russian military actions, often shrouded in ambiguity and carried out with unsettling audacity, are increasingly testing the fragile limits of established international norms. Are we witnessing the prelude to a wider, more destructive conflict? The recent series of airspace violations by Russian forces, especially near Poland, has sparked a wave of unease and prompted urgent responses from both Warsaw and its allies. This isn't just about stray missiles or errant drones. It's about a deliberate challenge to NATO's resolve and a blatant disregard for territorial sovereignty. The stakes are incredibly high. Today, we will analyze the situation from the perspective of the last few months and see that the situation was slowly getting worse. We will look through all of the details to understand what could be behind this. And as always, it is critically important you stay with us until the end, because at the conclusion, we will unpack the key conclusions we can draw from this dangerous game. Chapter 1: A Shadow over Poland. The war in Ukraine has become a stage for Russia's relentless military posturing, which has started to spill over into neighboring territories, particularly Poland. NATO has been intensely monitoring Russia's military movements in the region, with the Ukrainian army's continued resistance on the ground, causing Russia to look for ways to offset the impact of its actions. One of Russia's tactics that is becoming more frequent is using the tactic of air incursions in Eastern Europe, which is calculated risk designed to test NATO's boundaries. The situation escalated sharply when Russia launched a missile attack on Ukrainian cities, such as Kyiv, Dnipro, Kremenchuk, and Ivano-Frankivsk. In response, Poland immediately scrambled its fighter jets, signaling that it will no longer tolerate such provocations. This action was not an isolated incident, but rather the latest in a series of concerning events. Over the past few years, Poland has been repeatedly harassed by Russian missiles and drones, either accidentally or, many believe, deliberately. The Polish Armed Forces Operations Command has been very clear. They have moved into high alert and are closely watching the situation near the border with Ukraine. These actions have been taken during holidays as well, underscoring the significance of persistent vigilance as these threats seem to be increasing. What started as an accidental attack quickly turned into a real challenge to the security of the country. Poland has now made the decision that this will not go on unpunished. Poland's determination has created ripples through all of the world. In the next chapter, we will see what led to this point of view. Chapter 2: Echoes of the Past, Present Tensions. The current crisis is rooted in a series of airspace violations that have shaken Poland's sense of security and forced them to take action. One of the earliest incidents, which occurred on November 15, 2022, involved a missile believed to be of Ukrainian origin, striking the village of Przewodów near the Ukrainian border, tragically killing 2 civilians. While the origin of this missile is contested, this incident has certainly heightened the already existing tensions between Warsaw and Moscow. A subsequent and more deliberate incident occurred on December 16th of the same year, when a Russian cruise missile, reportedly without a warhead, penetrated Polish airspace for a significant period before ending up in a forest near Zamość. This was no accident and demonstrated Russia's calculated risk to escalate a situation. What is worse is that the discovery of the missile remnants was not made until several months later, when a civilian stumbled upon it. The time it took to identify this threat has resulted in a massive scandal. A political storm erupted, with the opposition accusing then Defense Minister Mariusz Błaszczak of covering up the incident. While Błaszczak claimed that he had not been informed about it, this was later revealed to be not true and showed a major security and communication breach. To further complicate matters, there were further Russian airspace incursions. One such incident involved an unknown aerial object that entered Polish airspace from the Ukrainian border. This was followed by another incident in March of 2024, where a long-range Russian missile was flying in Poland for nearly 40 seconds. And most recently, a Shahed drone was detected flying over the Ukrainian city of Chornohus, which is located very close to the border. The drone then crossed the border and traveled over 25 kilometers into Polish territory. These incidents were treated as acts of aggression in Warsaw. In the next chapter, we will see how the Polish government reacted to these continued escalations. Chapter 3, Warsaw's Hard Line. The government in Warsaw, feeling the heat from their populace, has adopted a much more aggressive stance against Russia's hostile actions. Despite NATO's position to stay neutral, the Polish Foreign Minister, Radosław Sikorski, has publicly stated that countries bordering Ukraine have an undeniable obligation to intercept Russian missiles before they enter their airspace. Sikorski has been insistent that Poland's obligation to ensure the safety of its citizens is not in conflict with its NATO membership obligations. This represents a very fundamental shift in their policy and a sign of an emerging split between Poland and NATO. The basis of this change stems from the fact that the closer a missile gets to its intended target, the greater the risk to human lives within Poland, and as such, they feel they should act. As such, they feel the need to intercept any threats coming from Russia over Ukraine, and not only over Poland. They feel that waiting till the Russian rockets enter Poland will cause them harm. This stance was further backed up by a bilateral security pact with Ukraine, where they committed to examine the possibility of intercepting missiles and drones in Ukrainian airspace. This proposal was met with resistance from the outgoing NATO Secretary General, Jens Stoltenberg, who argued that such an act could involve the alliance directly in the war with Russia. Despite this pushback, Sikorski defended his stance, insisting on Poland's right to protect its sovereign airspace. This disagreement demonstrates the deep divide between NATO's caution and Poland's determination to take decisive action. In the next chapter, we will examine the development and deployment of new defense infrastructure, as Poland attempts to create a shield over its eastern borders. Chapter 4, Building a Protective Umbrella. Poland has been actively building up its defenses while aggressively addressing all violations. In a major boost to its defenses, the Aegis Ashore ballistic missile defense facility in Redzikowo, Poland, is becoming operational. After years of delays and significant technical hurdles, this facility has finally been completed and is now being prepared to be added to the operational capability. This very important location is a component of NATO's integrated air and missile defense system, designed to safeguard NATO territory, civilians, and military personnel from any air and missile threats. The Aegis Ashore site includes various elements taken from the Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, including a deckhouse that is modeled after the ship's main structure. This structure contains the critical Aegis combat system, SPY-1 radar, and other vital support and work areas. It also features a separate above-ground structure that houses a range of Mk-41 vertical launch systems. The site's primary interceptors are versions of the standard Missile 3 surface-to-air missile. This is a very important location in the security structure of NATO, as it has the same core configuration as other similar facilities in Europe. These missiles are designed to neutralize ballistic missiles in mid-flight using a kinetic kill vehicle, which destroys its target on impact. The latest version of the SM-3 family is the Block 2IA version, which has been developed in cooperation with Japan. It is significantly more capable than the previous versions. Additionally, there is a potential for the system to be upgraded with new interceptors, particularly in light of the rising threat of hypersonic weapons. The Mk-41 VLS can also accommodate other weapons, such as the SM-6, which is designed to defend against hypersonic weapons, and potentially the Glide Phase Interceptor, which is currently under development. While there has been speculation about the possibility of integrating Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles into Aegis Ashore, this has not been done, and is something that has been prohibited under the now-defunct Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces (INF) Treaty. The activation of this facility will be a watershed moment in Poland's history, and it marks a crucial upgrade to its national defense. In the next chapter, we will see what Russia makes of these developments. Chapter 5, Russia's Rising Aggression. Russia has reacted very aggressively to the establishment of the Aegis Ashore facilities in Poland and Romania, as well as other US and European missile defense initiatives, claiming that they are a threat to their national security interests. It is very clear to everyone that the Aegis Ashore system is not designed to defeat a large-scale missile attack by a very capable adversary like Russia. The facility's core mission is to protect against smaller-scale attacks and is more of a psychological deterrence to Russia's aggression. Despite this, NATO is working hard to push back against Russian aggression. While Poland has been subjected to a lot of violations, Romania has also experienced its fair share of attacks due to its close proximity to the Ukrainian border and the Danube River ports. The first major violation was in September 2023, when Romanian authorities discovered the wreckage of a Russian drone. Similar incidents followed in December 2023 and in March, July, and September of 2024, with attacks evolving from drone debris into more direct incursions into NATO airspace. In the most recent incidents from October of this year, Russian drones once again crossed into Romanian airspace. While both NATO and Romanian officials have maintained that the attacks were not deliberate, these events are being treated as an escalation in Moscow's aggressive behavior. Romania's response has been to condemn Russia's actions and to call for a halt to these provocations. NATO has also shown solidarity with Romania, but this has not done much to deter Russia's aggression. These events are starting to look like deliberate attempts by Moscow to test the limits of NATO's resolve. It is also clear that Russia is assessing the cohesion and communication between NATO countries. The situation is very delicate. In the next chapter, we will see how NATO plans to counteract these threats. Chapter 6. NATO's response and the drone wall. In response to Russia's increasing provocations, NATO is not idly standing by. It has been actively working to intercept Russian drones and missiles. Additionally, there has been a renewed interest in the UAV wall project, especially due to the escalation of the war in Ukraine and North Korea's participation in the conflict. This was first discussed by Lithuania, which proposed the creation of a drone wall along the Russian border. The countries involved are Norway, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland. This plan involves building a wall over time that stretches from Norway to Poland. This is an enormous undertaking and involves securing a border of over 3,000 kilometers. The goal of this drone wall is to use drones and other high-tech equipment to safeguard the borders of the Baltic states against Russian aggression. This will include physical infrastructure, surveillance systems, and anti-drone technology to deter provocations and prevent smuggling. This drone wall will involve the use of high-tech drones to monitor borders, and also the creation of systems to defend against hostile drones. It is expected to be a common NATO deterrent structure that will eliminate any threat coming from Russia and Belarus. However, this project will be very expensive to implement. Each country will be responsible for their part of the wall. The creation of this wall comes at a very critical time when all countries in the West are feeling more pressure than ever from Russia. This represents a significant effort by NATO to demonstrate a united front and a clear intention to push back against Russian aggression in the region. Chapter 7. The unpredictable path ahead. As we consider the possible paths ahead, there are many possibilities of what might happen next. Experts predict that Russia will not disturb the airspace of countries close to Ukraine, such as Romania and Poland, and will not pressure other countries such as Norway or Finland. The reason for this is that Russia may face an unexpected retaliatory response. While this is a logical and pragmatic approach, we need to consider the possibility that Putin might do something that is illogical. The current situation makes it hard to predict what might happen next, since Putin has been known to use any means available to him to win the war. He may decide to cross more red lines on airspace, which might seem like suicide to everyone else, but not to him. It is very important that all countries in the West, especially the Baltic states, act in a unified manner. It is becoming more important than ever to maintain a solid front. Unity and solidarity are the greatest forces that can push back against tyranny. It is important to realize that things are escalating very quickly, and it is not clear what can happen in the coming months or even weeks. Chapter 8. An unexpected turn. As the world holds its breath, waiting for the next move in this high-stakes geopolitical chess game, a piece is moved in a very unexpected way. Just hours after the completion of the Aegis Ashore system, a cyber attack of unprecedented scale is launched against NATO's systems. It is discovered that the hack was launched by an unknown organization, but their technology demonstrates a level of sophistication that was previously unknown to experts. The attack cripples much of the communication infrastructure, leaving many bases unable to communicate with each other. It is not clear what the true intentions of this attack might be, but one thing is certain. This event has thrown the carefully crafted plans of NATO into total chaos. The world watches and wonders what will happen next. The situation in Eastern Europe is rapidly evolving, with each new incident adding to a very complex and ever more dangerous landscape. Poland's unwavering commitment to protecting its sovereignty, coupled with NATO's defensive posturing, creates an unpredictable dynamic. The future remains very uncertain. This analysis demonstrates the numerous levels of this global issue and hopefully gives you more information as we all try to understand what could happen next. Stay tuned for more updates. Conclusion: as we have seen, the situation in Eastern Europe is rapidly evolving, with a series of escalations from all involved parties. Poland's position at the forefront of this situation is incredibly precarious, and it has become a crucial element in NATO's defensive strategies. This series of events has demonstrated that the coming months may bring more difficult challenges to NATO and the world. By understanding what has happened, we can all be more prepared for what might happen next. Thank you for staying with us, and please subscribe for more information as this story develops.